Straight ahead on 12 News, we meet a Brooklyn Park boy with a pretty good swing and a sharp mind for numbers. Plus, diving into a new business venture, this one improves lakes one shoreline at a time. But first, a story that has made national headlines hits home.
It saddens me to no end to have that happen.
12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. From Dallas to Robbinsdale, the past 48 hours have been very difficult.
Caught in the middle of deadly shootings involving police across the country is a Robbinsdale family. 12 News visited the Robbinsdale neighborhood where Philando Castile lived up until a few months ago. His mother and sister still live in Robbinsdale. Castile was shot and killed by a St. Anthony police officer during a traffic stop in Falcon Heights Wednesday night, igniting protests in the Twin Cities and across the country. We spoke with a family friend who said that the family is seeking justice for Philando and an end to violence in the U.S. They also want to keep his memory alive. Today, family members were on their way from Robbinsdale to view his body. Philando Castile's death comes just days before what would have been his 33rd birthday.
The shootings in Falcon Heights and in Baton Rouge, Louisiana have put more focus on police relations with the African American community. Many blacks say they fear being pulled over for routine traffic stops. Because of this, some African Americans have what they call the talk about how to respond to police stops. Eric Nelson caught up with two Brooklyn Park residents who addressed this topic.
There are times when I've been stopped by police and I wonder if I'm going to see my wife and kids again. That's the reality of it.
If you are African American, odds are good you have heard the talk from your parents or given the talk to your kids.
I've been pulled over questionably in many situations. I've had guns drawn on me.
It's a message about how to behave when being pulled over by police.
Comply, comply, comply. It's the same thing that everyone says in the black community to their kids, to themselves, to their spouses, uncles, aunts, whatever the case is.
From generation to generation in my family, the talk, that is the racial talk on how to interact with officers who in that brief interaction have all the power.
For some African Americans, seeing flashing lights in the rearview mirror is a frightening situation.
It scares me 100%.
Many are petrified about becoming another Philando Castile.
That could have easily been me. That could have easily been my child.
It's a talk I've had with both of my children since they started driving, and even if they're passengers in cars, if stopped, no sudden movements, put your hands out of the window.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
Castile's fiance's Facebook video has shined a spotlight on this issue and could be a tipping point that fosters change.
Now everybody has a camera phone, everybody is in everybody's business, and is bringing to light some of the horrors that have been going on in our community for a long period of time.
Even Governor Mark Dayton had some powerful comments on this explosive topic.
Would this have happened if those passengers, the driver and the passenger were white? I don't think it would have. So I'm forced to confront, and I think all of us in Minnesota are forced to confront, that this kind of racism exists.
Dayton's stance has garnered a positive response in the African American community.
I think it took a great deal of courage for the governor to say that, and I say that because it's not generally a political stance that a lot of guys are willing to take. It could be political suicide.
In Brooklyn Park, I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
Local religious leaders are also trying to promote healing and understanding in light of the recent shootings.
I think the call of the church is to help people discover how they can actually have an impact, not to move beyond thinking and praying, which is necessary and important, but how do we let that shape us for action?
Pastors at Valley of Peace Lutheran in Golden Valley and Robbinsdale United Church of Christ have participated in rallies in St. Paul. Reverend T. Michael Rock also serves as the police chaplain to the Robbinsdale, Crystal, and New Hope police departments. He said that while recent events have been difficult for law enforcement, those that he works with are committed to reforming the system.
The color of our skin, the language we speak doesn't matter. We are related to each other, and we can't take one life for granted.
Several local churches are planning events this weekend to provide a place for mourning and healing. On Sunday morning, New Hope Church will hold a special service inviting discussion of the recent violence at their 9:30 service. Also Sunday, Valley of Peace Lutheran in Golden Valley will hold a service of prayer for healing at 6 p.m.
In other news, there is some good news on the job front. After 2 months of weak hiring, the June jobs report was the strongest since October of last year. The U.S. added 287,000 jobs, defying weak growth overseas. Locally, among the companies with the most job growth is Boston Scientific, which has operations in Maple Grove and Plymouth. According to the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal, the company gained 2,200 jobs over the past year, second highest among large employers in the state, behind only the Mayo Clinic. And a reminder about a big weekend highway closure in the area. Southbound Highway 100 will be closed through the weekend between I-394 and Crosstown Highway 62. The southbound lanes will reopen by 5 a.m. on Monday. Next weekend, northbound Highway 100 will close. If you could design your dream job, what would you do?
Two young entrepreneurs came up with a simple solution to cleaning up lake weeds, one that's free of any chemicals. They could be coming soon to a lake near you. When your workday is gray and gloomy and you're surrounded by chaos, sometimes you can't wait to escape to your own world of peace and quiet. For this group of divers, their underwater workplace gives them a chance to ignore the surface and just get to work.
We handful lake weeds for lakefront homeowners and other commercial businesses on lakes around the metro area.
Thomas Lisi and his childhood friend Nick Bumgard got the idea to form a lake weed removal company without using chemicals or cutters, by pulling weeds the old-fashioned way.
We typically come out about 3 times to perform work for homeowners, once in June, July, and August, just to keep everything clean, so when they come down to their dock for the weekend, everything's spotless.
Once in the water, scuba divers line up and start moving across the property, working hard to make the first pass as productive as possible.
It's nasty down there. You get like one good pass, and then after that it just kind of goes pitch black, so it's all by feel.
The lake weeds go from a lake homeowner's trash to a mulch company's treasure because of their moist, rich nutrients.
It's a good mixture to create some high-quality compost.
Pulling underwater weeds by hand is simple, effective, and now in demand. Since the two owners started Lakescape as teenagers 4 years ago, they've hired 12 workers and expanded beyond Lake Minnetonka.
When we get down there and all those guys are doing the work, it's pretty cool how it all comes together and how it looks once everything's done. It's a very noticeable difference.
Lakescape also has other services like removing zebra mussels or cleaning up the shoreline. The two owners plan to expand the business to snow removal and more landscaping services in order to keep it going year-round. And Mike, they find a lot of different things on the bottom: cell phones, iPads, you name it.
All kinds of stuff down there.
They do a good job. Coming up, a Brooklyn Park 9-year-old's idea that could help improve your golf game.
And then later in sports, Maple Grove opens play in the Gopher Classic American Legion Tournament.
But first, a pretty decent weekend for outdoor plans. Saturday should be stellar. If you are looking to shake off the stormy weather we've had, the weather forecast this weekend is looking perfect.
In Weekend Showcase, Neil Persley has some whiz-bang ideas for entertainment.
Get set for 68th Annual Whiz Bang Days in Robbinsdale. Tim Bechtold is putting the finishing touches on Gallery 504 for open house festivities Friday and Saturday.
Minnesota artists past and present. And so that's exactly what we have up in the gallery. We have artists from the past, early 20th century, all the way to current artists that are practicing now.
Just across the street from Gallery 504 is the Robin Gallery.
The exhibit right now is the Whiz Bang Art Show, which is one of our 2 members shows that we present each year.
About 25 different artists are represented inside, but there's festivities outside as well.
Art on the Lawn is open to any crafter, art vendor, creative person, authors. We have them all covered.
When it's time for a little something, you'll find a sweet surprise at Willette Bakery.
We're going to be doing a cakewalk from 10 until 2 every 45 minutes. We'll have about 4 rounds each time, and the winner is going to win a box of 4 cupcakes.
Who doesn't like cupcakes?
Yeah, because they're going to have to move a couple of the first matches to like noon.
Okay.
At Nona Rosa's, the brackets are set for their 5th annual Bocce Ball tournament.
We actually have 16 teams that compete, double elimination. They whittle down to the top 3.
The spectator-friendly tournament takes place in the parking lot right behind Nona Rosa's.
Broadway Awards creates all of our little trophies and ribbons, and then we also give away some Nona Rosa's gift cards and stuff as well. And we find that every year the bragging rights are the hottest thing to get. So once you're a winner, you'll always be a Nona Rosa's Bocce Ball winner.
And that just scratches the surface. For Weekend Showcase in Robbinsdale, I'm Neil Persley, 12 News.
And for a full schedule of events, you can check out whizbangdays.com online. Looks like they may have hit the weather just right as well.
They did.
Coming up, a Brooklyn Park 9-year-old solution to improve others' golf games.
But first, a former Hopkins football standout returns to his old high school to lead a football camp. Jay Wilcox has that up next.
Jay Wilcox with sports. Hey, this is pretty cool. An NFL pro comes back to, where it all began.
That's right. It was exciting to see him again, and he was excited to be back, definitely, too. Well, a lot of young football players dream of playing in the NFL. The reality is most won't make it. Today at Hopkins High School, a former Royal standout who is in the league was back to share his knowledge. It's a homecoming for Marcus Williams. The ex-Hopkins and North Dakota State standout is now with the New York Jets and is running the Marcus Williams Elite Defensive Back Camp. The familiar surroundings are nice.
It feels good being back on the field that you just grew up playing on. And it brings back a ton of memories, and just seeing the school and seeing the bleachers and everything around here just feels fun being back here.
Williams has played 2 seasons for the Jets and had 6 interceptions last season. Playing in the NFL is pretty special to him.
Yeah, it's a definite dream come true, being in the NFL. Definitely don't take it for granted at all. Basically just to find it's a ton of hard work, and you just got to go out there and take it as you're doing a job. And it's a ton of fun. I'm very thankful for it. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. And it's also great to give back and come back and show others that no matter where you're from, you can do it.
At his DB camp, Marcus and his staff are passing along the finer points of playing in the secondary.
It's very simple things, but it's things that will help you out if you're a defensive back every single day. So these are some of the things that I've learned that I feel that helped out that we're going to teach the kids. It's some things that I wish that I could have learned when I was in high school that probably could have helped my game out a ton, that I feel like I could teach these younger kids that can probably help them out in their game, that can help them to get looked at the next level.
He's worked hard to get to the NFL, and Marcus Williams is more than happy to share his knowledge with the next generation. The camp continues Saturday at the Hopkins football field. About 35 players were participating Friday morning. Williams has his off-season home in Plymouth, and the Jets start training camp July 28th. Baseball players from Williams' old school had a good game Thursday in American Legion play. Former Hopkins High School coach Neil Lerner is an assistant coach with the Flyers. They hosted Bloomington Blue. Aaron Jensen rips a base hit for Hopkins. Joey Swanson hustles around and scores for a 1-0 lead in the first. Go to the bottom of the 5th. Hopkins with a 2-out rally. Jeremy Burton sends a shot to the fence. Max Wiesner trots home for a 4-1 Flyers lead. Then Alex Schwartz strokes the base hit to drive in Burton, and it's 6-1 Hopkins. The Flyers shut down Bloomington the rest of the way, and they win it 6-1. It's billed as the largest American Legion tournament in the country. The 96-team, 16-site Gopher Classic is underway. Maple Grove is one of those host sites. The Crimson hosted Stillwater on Friday morning. Top of the 3rd, Graham Lobsher lifts a fly ball to the gap that brings home Nicholas Novak and gives Stillwater a 2-1 lead. In the bottom of the 5th, Brett Schultz lays down a squeeze bunt. It scores Isaac Collins. Maple Grove ties it up at 2-2. The next batter is Drew Lewis, and his infield single plates Charlie Horton as Maple Grove takes a 1-run lead. But Stillwater answers in the 6th. Austin Murr sends a shot to the right field fence. It scores Lobsher for a 4-3 Stillwater lead. Matthew Stanton rips a hit in the hole, and Joseph Costa motors home. It's 6-3 Stillwater. Maple Grove has shut down the rest of the way. Stillwater wins 6-3. Maple Grove plays again Friday evening against East Grand Forks. So a lot of ball still to be played over the weekend at all those different sites.
They'll be busy. Thanks,
That's right.
Jay. Still ahead, is your golf game struggling?
A Brooklyn Park 9-year-old may have a solution. We'll be right back.
Golf is a game that requires patience and skill.
Yeah, it also helps if the players know how to control their distance. And as Delane Cleveland reports, a young Brooklyn Park golfer has launched a business venture that will help others improve their game.
Seth Damsgaard is an outgoing, golf course roaming 9-year-old boy.
I like it because you get to be outside, and when you play golf, you don't have to play with somebody else. You can just play against yourself and try to beat yourself.
Ask him about his skill set, and he doesn't hold back on his self-assessment.
I'm a fairly good driver, I'm a good chipper, and a good putter.
It's what happens when you enjoy the sport and stay dedicated to it.
These are the instructions for Gross National. That's a course in Minneapolis.
But Seth also has a helpful tool.
And so this is the depth.
With the assistance of his dad, Seth has put together a series of yardage books that map out some of his favorite courses.
One book takes about 20 hours.
The books are designed to help make the game easier.
Especially if it's a course you play a lot, because then you'll know what clubs to hit. We're going to start at that drain.
Seth and Dad map out a course by looking for sprinkler heads. Then they set up a bike reflector in front of the green.
Face it towards the hole.
Next, they use a rangefinder to get the accurate yardage. All the information makes it into their books. It's an activity that certainly made Mom proud.
I have been really impressed. It's been hours and hours of work. And he's really stuck with it. He's been excited and enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic not just because the books can improve his game, but because he wants to make the yardage books accessible to any kids who visit public courses.
It gives you the exact yardages, and it saves you a lot of time when you're playing, and we're always trying to speed up play on the golf course.
It also saves money. Instead of paying hundreds of dollars for expensive GPS equipment, you can buy Seth's book for about $10.
We think it's awesome. You know, he's turned into a little entrepreneur. I like to say I knew him when he was, just a golfer.
I am definitely proud of him. I think he's a great kid.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Well, Seth and his dad have already mapped out 6 Twin Cities golf courses, and you will be able to buy his yardage books at a few of those courses by the end of July. I think they'll go for it too. Golfers will go for anything to take a few strokes off, you know?
I think so. You'll probably be covering him in a few years. I can see that.
So, yeah, he's got it all together.
He does.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.